Welcome to At the Table,
where we are connecting entrepreneurs, discovering missions, and building communities with purpose, body, soul, mind, and business with
Charlie
and Heather.
with Women in Leadership. Hello and welcome back to the table. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Heather.
And with us at the table today is an amazing entrepreneurial woman who decided to pack up her life into an RV and take it on the road. Our RV adventurist and freedom coach, Jackie. Jackie, lovely to have you today.
I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this probably more than most podcasts that I've done. No offense to anybody else I've done a podcast with, but I just love your vibe and your energy. So thank you for having me. And if your vibe and energy is like that, I can imagine people listening are very similar. So thank you for listening to this episode.
Yay!
Awesome. Thank you, Jackie. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do.
So like you said, I'm a freedom mentor and I'm RV adventurist, and I never thought I'd be so we do these vision boards, right? And we think like vision forecasting, and that's what I'm real passionate about, but this was never in the picture. And so this was random, but I've always had this theme across my life of a freedom. I've always been searching out for freedom, whether it was being the kid who never settled down with a 2.5 kids, picket fence house back in Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl at heart. Born and raised, but then I left and I didn't want to be there. And I traveled the country post-college instead of getting a real job. And then after that, I went into the restaurant industry, and the restaurant industry for 30 years gave me the opportunity to mentor people and coach people to the next level, hold that gift of belief for them until they get there, and then raise it even further higher for them when they got there, just never stopping, and promoted over 300 people and loved that piece. What I didn't love about the restaurant industry was the piece of lack of time freedom, lack of money freedom, being told that I can only take this much vacation when I can take it, only make this much money, work 10, 15, 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, telling me where I had to go. And everything else I loved about it. And by the way, I'm in Virginia Beach in that RV adventurist thing that I talked about. And Virginia Beach has a naval base. So if you hear some cool planes and jets, that's what you're hearing above me. The life of the nomad. And so after 30 years of that, the last 2 years of it, I was in a part of my career that I left the operation side of what I loved, and I tried a corporate office position. And that was like putting an animal in a cage. I was like unhappy, like scratching the walls, but I was like, I'm learning something and it's teaching me something. Well, then 2 years later, I actually got fired from that job, and it was the best day of my life. Because that's what 2 months, right? I don't know if anybody could relate to that, but
Yes.
2 months previous, right? 2 months previous, I met the coaching world, and that opened my eyes to the possibilities of me taking what it is that I was so good at, and that gift of belief. I mean, that gift of coaching and mentoring and seeing what people can't see, but then putting it in my own business. But I wasn't ready to jump in 2 months in. I wasn't ready to let's give up the income and the benefit. And when I got let go, it's like, okay, the universe was smacking me in the face saying, it's time. You've waited this long. You've always wanted your own thing. And from that point in 2018, I've built my business, which is Jackie Cote Coaching. And now my passion is to help you step into more freedom by awakening, empowering, and owning who you are. And that badass that's always been in there, right? The badass that like when you remember when you were younger and you were like, I'm just going to make it happen. Like whatever it is, I'm just going to do it. Like you didn't know enough to think to stop yourself. Like you didn't have enough of the world impacting you to stop yourself from thinking it wasn't possible. And then things happen through life. And now I want to wake that little one up. Like awaken that goddess, that badass leader inside, and so that she can step into how powerful she is and really own who she is so that she can achieve that freedom life that she truly desires.
Yeah.
So excited.
I have goosebumps because it thrills me to be able to hear in just a couple of months. Heather and I are going to come out and see you.
We get to hug you in
on
person.
the East Coast, hug you in person, which is awesome. And we have the luxury of joining you for your very first retreat that you put together by yourself. And I remember you saying that you're just going to go ahead and go in on this retreat, and you don't know if it's going to work out or not. It's going to be expensive to rent the place and all this. And then one of your students was the teacher in this situation and got you out of your head. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, that's a great story. Thank you for bringing that up. One of my clients who's been with me since day one, she's been with me for over 3 years now. And I'm just so blessed and honored to have been on this part of her journey in life. And but she'd watched me go on like I literally have gone on like 20, 20 retreats in the last 4 years of like other people paying money to go on other people's retreats from like Cabo to Dallas to Austin to all different places. And I've loved all of them. And she was like, hello, when are you gonna do yours? And I was like, yeah, that's coming. I don't think I'm ready yet. And I was just like bullshit. And she basically gave me like she found on VRBO or whatever. Yeah, that was the one. She found the house and she goes, here's the house. And I was like, that's a 5K investment just for the house. And I've gotten through a lot of money stories. I've changed a lot of my money stories and in the investing side of things and everything. But man, I was like, what if nobody signs up? And I put this 5-figure thing in, and that awakening of her, like her little nudge went okay, and I just that helped awaken, right, the
Mm-hmm.
that go for it, no fears woman that I know is inside of me, that was kind of hiding on that piece because I knew it was going to be part of my business one day. I just kept riding off of other people's coattails for a while, going, okay, someday. And that pushed me over to hear someone else say, you've got this. And that's what I think we're all here for. And to get that back from your clients is magical. I get it every day. I get it all the time. It's a two-way street in coaching. Like, I love what I do and I love inspiring others to be able to have what desire and create and everything that they have. But man, do I get back. It's a little selfish. I get back so much. And the thing, and it sold out in 2 weeks. You know, like I launched
and it sold out in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like 19 women signed up in 2 weeks, and I was like, "What?" And I have people since then. I'm like, "Wait, I don't have enough room. I'll open up the next one soon." I've been looking for houses for the next one, and so it's always worse. Like our brain makes it worse on the other side than it ever is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the thing we want to do, we're like, oh, okay, well, what if, like I'm investing a good like 20, 30, $20 plus $1,000 into this event, you know? And that's a risk that you're taking that hopefully people sign up to fill that and to put that into it, you know? And it happened, and it means the world to me that people like believe in me to be able to join me on my very first one. And yeah, I'm excited that you guys are coming.
Yeah, we're excited to be there.
It's been so fun being in the chats and the planning and the questions you're asking. I'm like, I hadn't really thought about, do I prefer this or, like, I was like, oh, this is going to be really cool because you keep asking like these little nuggets of like,
what do you like?
What do you want?
What kind of music do you listen to? All these things.
Right.
Like, I'm still waiting for your music. I want to know.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
57 girl. I listen to everything.
I'm 50 and I'm getting all different mixed reviews of like everybody's, and I'm loving it. So you'll see.
I think I like everything except for like some serious rap that has the words I don't care for dropped in every 5 seconds.
Yeah,
I don't need
that
to
don't
know.
make sense anyway. Like it's like that doesn't even.
Right.
Yeah,
I do enjoy lyrics that make sense.
Yeah, but like someone can sing along to.
Yeah.
Like I like a good drum beat. Like I don't know. I just love music.
What drew me and Heather, I think, to just jump in and join you on the retreat was we just felt drawn in. Like, this is something we have to do. And it is a huge investment for us in our little baby business here. But I know that we are going to come out of that retreat in such a better place than we went in. Yeah. Whatever that looks like, I don't know yet. Doesn't matter. But the universe basically said, you're going.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
Right. And here's the kicker. Not only did Jackie manifest this a retreat and just make it happen. But when we were in negotiations to make it happen, we
like manifested it.
We
like,
manifested it, and
that
like within
quick,
like the
it
next
was
day, it was there.
super awesome.
Yeah.
Once we decided this is definitely the thing we wanted to do, the funds were there. It was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like, this is such a different place for me to be in our journeys. Like, and I feel like this is the way the whole year is going to be, right? Like, I don't know what's on the other side of the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what that looks like or feels like. And it's all new to me. And it's so
Mm-hmm.
exciting. And I feel like we're getting that really good foundation. All the right work is being done, or like, you know,
always taking the next right step.
Yeah.
And so our next right
Goosebumps.
step this coming April is to join Jackie for this wonderful, amazing retreat that she's doing. And I can't wait for her to announce when the next ones are coming, because I know that those will be booked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
So there's something I just want to comment to what you just said that's magical, and I want everyone to hear it, was that you said, I don't know what's on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can stand in trust and faith on the front end process and really have fun with like building the foundation and meeting the people and telling them what you do and making offers to help them, which are really the three foundational things to building a business.
Mm-hmm.
But it's this thing that stops us from doing those three things. But the magic happens when you can stand in faith and trust on the front end and surrender to the results and what you think, how you think it should look and how it's supposed to happen, and not even numbers and time. Like, I've removed numbers and time from the process of visualizing and dreaming, because that limits, like, what if the universe wants to deliver to you like it did to you guys, like the next day?
Right.
If we think it's like, well, we'll make that money in like the next 6 months, the universe is like, no, tomorrow, here you go, you know. And so why like limit the process? And so trusting, surrendering was one of the biggest pivots in my business early on. Like, after the first year, when I learned the true process of trusting and surrendering, that was a huge shift.
And I'd have to say that it was the same for us.
We've had a couple of big things. Like, we had an opportunity for me I really wanted to do it, and I was able to be mentored by one of our favorite people. And it was just like, I was talking to her, I was like, it's going to happen. I don't know how. I'm not attached to the how it's going to happen. I just know. And the next day, again, it happened. I was like, wow. Like, okay. So, you know, it's like, okay, now a couple of times the universe is like, are you listening? You know, like, just keep doing the thing. Like, it's a thing. When we get there.
If we didn't trust and surrender and take the next right step, our business wouldn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. Amen to that. And you know, it's funny, I was just learning recently something more about, because this journey, we learn so much about ourselves through the process, right? Yeah, we're helping others, but we're our first client and everything. And a lot of the healing and inner work has to be done, or the rest of it will not happen. You know, it won't, like you just said. So, but one of the things I really recently understood about myself is that powerful go-getter, no fear, fearless, like 20 something person who like put herself through, well, actually, let's say 14-year-old something and 15, from those ages, like, I paid for everything myself. I found a way to go to college. I made all the phone calls, did all the applications, paid for my car, figured out how to go on spring break by selling 12 trips to get on my own free spring break, because there was no money. For me, after 8 kids, there's nothing left. But and so all of that was, I look at that as like, that's the part of who I want to reawaken every day. But that came from survival, right? It came from a place of like survival, of like, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes to just make it to where I want to go, and just make it to where I want to go. And there's great things I learned from that. But there's a difference between the woman today that you guys are becoming and that I'm experiencing. It's the woman who can, no longer out of survival, but out of thriving, have trust and faith in their higher power, in the universe and God and whatever your higher power is, and standing in that, like, in such certainty and absolute, that like my dreams are happening because if it's my desire, I deserve, it's mine. It came from up above. I deserve to have it. You know what I mean? And it's just a different thing that comes from scarcity of like just enough to get by, but I'm always supported, but just enough versus, what's possible and what's the potentiality of what could happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
it's really fun to open your mind to the possibility.
Yes.
It's really exciting. It's almost like thrilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It
cool.
really is. And I like to go back to some of my vision boards and share them with Charlie because she'll look at them and she'll be like, here's this. And you already got that. And you did that thing. Do you see how that manifested for you? And you're like, oh my gosh. And I even have a vision board where I basically manifested Charlie. I have her
the year
house,
before we met,
her she shed, her living room was on there.
Awesome.
It's so cool. And then I had made like, because that's part of my process, right? Like when I'm having a hard time, I create the vision board and I'll create sub vision boards if I have to, like if I'm in a rut, right? Even the colors I used in the sub bit were the colors that we used to start our podcast with. It was like, whoa, like, okay,
awesome.
so much like power in that and finding ourselves and then, you know, manifesting a bestie that I didn't know I needed so much. Right. So
Right. I can't imagine the screen without the two of you. Like earlier, I was like, wait, there's something missing.
That's the fear is stepping out a little into my uncomfort zone, which is doing some things on my own. Charlie's been doing the weekly readings for a while now, like a whole year. So she's been like doing something on her own. So it was my turn to step in and do something that was
good for you
on my own too. So yeah, so we're really excited about our social media Wednesdays now, and people can come and you know, ask questions, which is great.
During the Q&A.
So
pretty
that's
exciting.
fun.
Jackie, one thing that we always like to ask our guests as they join us is, what is the message on your heart today that you feel like women need to hear?
So when it comes to truly loving yourself, I've had this journey with my health recently. And I mean, it's a lifetime journey, right? Our health and wellness and really, and just recently I started working with a naturopath and I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out like what's ideal for me and because it's never really ever been about the weight. I've just always wanted to feel better in my body and like have and I have massive energy even at my highest weights and stuff like that. And I'm still a positive, happy person, but I really wanted to just truly like love me and find the best things that are best for my body, right? So I'm starting that journey. Here's what I discovered this last 30 days, and I want to share this because I'm hoping this can change one person's story and it applies to any part of your life, not just health. I realized that I had these stories attached to food from my younger childhood, right? From my whole life of food equals joy, food equals love, food equals companionship, food equals socialization, food equals I had all these meanings I was attaching to food. And one of my friends one day said to me, food's just fuel. And I got offended. I got pissed. And I was like, don't tell me food's just fuel. Food means so much more. And I like stopped myself and I went, whoa, why are you resistant to this? Why do you feel like you are angry about this? And it uncovered and I got curious. So in life, just get curious, no judgment on yourself. I got curious, why was I feeling this way? And in that moment, I discovered that all of these things were attached to this inanimate object. And I was making it that if I didn't have it, I would not have all of that. Like this equaled that. And so if this changed, this was all going to change. And that's just not true. And the power we have inside of us is to be able to change that thought on a dime and think a different thought and have a different life. So literally within like the 60 minutes after I got all pissy about food as fuel, which is truth, right? I sat and I go, well, what's the new story? And the new story is, and I talked to a friend and I process and use your resources, guys, whether it's coach, friends, support group, community, whatever you have. And I realized, oh no, I still get to have fun and fuel my body. And I get to have fun, and creativity was a big one for me with food. And I've been so creative figuring out like the different things that like go together that makes me feel where I don't have heartburn, or I don't have bloat, I don't have brain fog, I don't have all this stuff that I was dealing with. And I have this unlimited energy to the point where I'm like, would you just go to sleep? And I'm like, I'm not on caffeine either. I like to cut out caffeine. I cut out sugar, cut out flour, like all the things that I thought would, so my point is that like in a moment you can think differently, change the story and live by that new story, and know that it's safe, that you're going to be loved, you're going to belong. And it's the first time, and I'm 50 now, first time in 50 years where I'm like joyfully just like in like food is just part of my everyday, but it's not like, it doesn't determine my fun, it doesn't determine my love, it doesn't determine my joy, it doesn't determine anything. That's an inside game. And I've had that inside game, I thought, on lockdown, but I did not, because this was
right.
This was a new one for me. So it's growth and evolution over time, and you're always going to like continuously learn. So it's not a one and done. And this really gave me another eye opening of, this year, how can I love myself more than I ever have? And this is another thing that I'm doing to just love myself more and more.
I love that.
Yes. I love that too, because you come from that restaurant mentality, right? Where like food is love. Like you are literally putting love into the food that you're preparing, you know. I get that. Like,
well, girl, the first thing I ever, like the last memory I have of my mom, because she died when I was 5, is us making lasagna at the table with all the kids standing, and we'd make lasagnas to give to the community. Like she would, like one kid would put the sauce and one kid would put the noodles. Okay, so huge story attachment, right?
Yeah.
Huge story attached to food. And then you've got the fact that anytime people were around, it was because food was around. If food wasn't around, I was alone as a kid. You know, my brothers were doing their own thing. My dad worked 80 hours a week. And so for me, it was like, ooh, people, food, community.
Right.
Okay, great. So all these stories that I was able to just kind of uncover and go, oh, okay, that's why. But I get to think differently. I get to find community online with you guys. I get to find, you know, like I get to love to be by myself and with myself. I don't have to be afraid of that. That's a whole nother podcast right there.
That is a whole nother podcast. That's something I've been working on too. Yes. I hear you, girl.
And that's when I talk about freedom, guys. That is the true freedom, is when you can be free to love yourself, be with yourself, own yourself, enjoy the silence, enjoy the peace and the calm. I kept so busy and so noisy so I didn't have to like be with me for 40 years of my life. I just how could I avoid me? And I found every way possible subconsciously to do it. And now I'm like, man, I love my solo time. I love my like connecting with me. And that's just that's where freedom is. It's not the money. It's not the success. It's not the how many people do you know, how many likes you get. None of that. It's how do you love yourself? How do you love being with yourself?
Boom.
Boom.
So then I guess I would say my challenge is next time that there is a love song on the radio, that you sing it to yourself.
Yes. Ooh, you know another good one is? I love that one. And look in the mirror when you're singing it to yourself, but just don't get into an accident. But go to the mirror and tell yourself, look yourself straight in the eyes and tell yourself you love yourself. Say, I love you. And watch yourself look away. You're going to go, this is what I did the first time I did it. I was like, I love you. I love you. This is so corny. I love you. And then all of a sudden I started crying because I looked at myself in the eyes and I was like, I don't. And I want to so badly. This was 3 years ago. And I remember bawling, like looking at the mirror and just bawling. And I'm like, I want to, but I can't say it truthfully yet.
But that was also a turning point for you. Huge turning point.
Huge. I can feel it now. A huge turning point.
Yeah,
I'm tearing up because I feel it too, because it's been a recent, you know, to trust myself and to say that I love myself. That's like,
I'm with you, girl. I'm with you. And it's the beginning. It's the beginning. If you can do that, and even just admit that, like, you want to do that, you desire to do that, and maybe you can't right now, know that then at least you're aware of it now. It's the aware of the desire that helps you make the change. And then you get to start to decide
And
to take the
admitting
steps
that
to
you don't love yourself, or that you don't even like the way you talk to yourself on the inside, like, admitting that you don't like that person inside, like, because that's internal game. Yeah.
And how does that serve us, right? When we're like mean to ourselves and we think that way, and it's like, once you have the awareness, you have the ability to flip the script and like go, okay, what does serve me? And it's funny because I get clients all the time. They're like, but I said it to myself. Why hasn't it changed? I'm like, because it's like building a muscle. You have to rewire the neural pathway that hates you, the neural pathway that you've created over life, over 30 years. And you just got to, like, repetition with elevated emotion is what rewires a pathway in your brain. So what can you say to yourself every day? How can you high five yourself like Mel Robbins says? And how can you do all those things, right? Like every day, and tell yourself, and eventually you're going to go, and there it is. I feel it.
Yeah. And when it does, you cry because it's intense, because you're like, wow, I made this shift. I did it. You're like, awesome. You're just like, I can't believe I was able to do that. Right. Like, right? It's you that proof to yourself. Power. Yeah.
Yeah. And it can happen. These emotional breakthroughs can happen, more than once. Think of them as like little dams along the river, right? Little dams along the river. You're breaking every dam.
Totally. I'm laughing because the first year I broke thousands of dams. Like the
first
year, I was like, I'd get on the phone with my coach. I had a coach for 2 years, a one-on-one coach, and I'd be like, "Girl, I have cried with you more than I've cried in 40 years. Like, what the hell? Like, I came to you for business. What is this? What is this thing? Like, why are my eyes leaking?" So yeah.
It's interesting because we had an empowerment coach, and when we were talking with her, both of us would have these like big moments of just getting through whatever block it was, and we would bawl. Like it would be like full lips twitching, like, oh, okay, I don't know why it was so hard to just say that out loud, but apparently it was. You don't know.
Yep. And as a coach, we kind of giggle a little bit because we're under the table when you cry. We're like, yes.
Right.
Because we know.
Yeah, the other side of it, right.
Because we know how much of a release you need and how much it's going to help you. And then we tell you to go take a nap.
Right, drink lots of water.
Yep.
Drink your water. Yep.
That's so fantastic, Jackie. I want to thank you so much for sharing your heart with us and your enthusiasm. We love your energy, and we can't wait to see you.
And the best way for people to get in contact with you is...
So I have your standard website of JackieCoteCoaching.com, but I got to tell you, my Facebook personal page, if you are a Facebook individual, come hang out with me, come friend me, tell me you met me on their podcast so that I can give them a shout out about how we met. And it's a digital diary of my life. Like they could attest to everything I put on there is like my travels, my life, my dogs, my man, my business,
your
all
grandbaby.
Of it.
Your grandbaby.
So cute. Yeah.
We're having another one. A little girl is being born this month or next, in the beginning of next. We're not sure exactly when it's going to happen, but I'm sorry, February. She's going to be born.
That's so exciting
stuff. Oh, make sure you go follow Jackie on her Facebook and tell her we said hi. And Jackie, we can't wait to see you in April.
I know. I'm so excited to see you guys and give you big hugs. Yay. Big hugs. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for sharing your heart with everybody. And thank you all for joining us at the table today with Jackie. And we'll see you next time.
Namaste.
Oh, stay tuned for the cost of the quarter and other details.
And now networking. We help these young women transition from high school into college. And ours is a unique program because we are helping them each year of college till they get that bachelor's degree or go into their chosen career. And so that mentorship goes on through college and actually after college, because what we have is we have 2 phases in our program. And that first one is getting them through high school to college to their career. And once they're in their career, they're a Now member forever with a free membership. And we have mentors in place, business coaches that help them to learn the essential skills to run an effective business. And so the mentoring goes on, the relationship goes on, and I'm sure that they will eventually also be mentors to the new kids coming into our program.
We take the mystery and pain out of social media consistency for your business, giving you back time to shine in your zone of genius. Social media is the new branding. It deserves its own attention, thought, and effort. Yet so few businesses actually take this seriously and invest enough time on their strategy. We can do it for you at an affordable rate that will fit into your budget and allow you to pursue other revenue channels as well. The hardest part of social media management is keeping up the consistency to be seen and know what to post, when to post. Are you ready to have everything ready to go for you, saving you time and energy by not having to do it all yourself? Still getting your message out so that people get to know you, like you, and develop trust while opening yourself up to more time for the business of your business where you shine. Working with Women in Leadership, BSMB LLP, is a unique experience that bridges the gap from face-to-face to virtual relationship marketing. Not only do we love to help you shine on social media, we love to share tools to help you grow with us, body, soul, mind, and business. Check out our podcast and YouTube channel for Mindset Mondays, Social Media Training Wednesdays, business interviews and special topics on Fridays, and weekly readings on Sundays. To schedule your consultation or podcast interview, head to our website, www.womeninleadershipbsmb.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get our weekly readings on Sunday, our podcast, Mindset Monday, Social Media Training with Heather on Wednesdays with a live Q&A, and guest interviews and special topics on Fridays. Thank you for joining us. Find out more and schedule with us online at www.womeninleadershipbsmb.com, where you have a spot at the table. Thank you for joining in on the fun. Be sure to like and subscribe for more.